The movie begins with the soft voice of a young girl named Yuri. She introduces us to her village nestled in the mountains, a quiet, remote place surrounded by mystery. Yuri speaks of the legends whispered for generations. In the deep shadows of the surrounding peaks, there exist mystical blue creatures known as Ochi. One night, under the cover of darkness, a group of children led by a hunter named Petro are seen heading towards the forest that borders the mountains. The mood is tense but determined. Among these children is Yuri herself. Strangely, each child carries a rifle in their hands. Just before they step into the forest, Petro pauses and turns to Yuri. From his belt, he removes a small knife and hands it to her. "Keep this with you," he says in a serious tone. "If anyone tries to hurt you, use it to protect yourself." As the group moves deeper into the forest, we finally catch our first glimpse of the Ochi. These creatures are unlike anything we've seen. Small, blue, monkey-like beings, brimming with life and joy, playing among the trees, completely unaware of the danger approaching. But joy soon gives way to chaos. Following Petro's instructions, some children begin to set fire to the trees, while others block the paths with traps. The rest take positions to begin the hunt. In an instant, the forest transforms into a battleground. The Ochi, caught off guard and terrified, scramble to escape. In the middle of this turmoil, something unexpected happens. One of the Ochi, while trying to escape, rolls through the chaos and crashes into Yuri. The young girl stands frozen. The Ochi stares at her, its large eyes full of fear, pain, and something more. This Ochi is a mother. Through her frightened yet determined expression, Yuri realizes that her child is trapped high up in a nearby tree. The mother Ochi doesn't attack. She doesn't run. She just stands there, silently pleading. One of Yuri's companions, unaware or perhaps unbothered by what Yuri is doing, fires at the mother Ochi. She is hit badly, collapsing in pain. Before Yuri can do anything, the others pull the injured Ochi away, leaving the forest echoing with the cries of the lost child. The little Ochi, frightened and alone, vanishes into the dark forest. Morning broke over the village, casting a golden hue over the mountains. Petro returned with the children, proud of their night's work. Though they hadn't been able to secure food, he praised their efforts, especially highlighting their discipline and courage. Yet he reminded them that the mission wasn't over. "You all must work harder," Petro said, his gaze lingering on the group. "Just like Rabato did. He struck down the Ochi last night without hesitation." Later, at the breakfast table, the mood shifted. While sharing a meal, Petro criticized Yuri in front of everyone, especially Rabato. "Your performance was the weakest," he remarked sharply. "You shouldn't be out there if you can't handle it." Embarrassed and hurt, Yuri rose from the table and stormed off. Seeking solitude, she wandered deep into the forest to clear her mind. The tall trees and cool wind offered some peace, until a strange sound echoed from a nearby cave. Curious, Yuri stepped closer and discovered something heartbreaking. The same baby Ochi from the night before, caught in a trap, whimpering in pain. When the little creature saw her, he recoiled in fear and howled louder, unsure if she would hurt him. Cautiously, Yuri approached. Not wanting to alarm him further, she used a stick to gently free him from the trap. The baby Ochi tried to flee, but his injured leg made it impossible. Moved by sympathy, Yuri tucked him carefully into her bag and carried him home. Once there, she treated his wound, cleaning and bandaging it with care. Slowly, the fear in his eyes faded. He began to understand. This human wasn't like the others. Trust started to grow, and soon the two were playing together like friends. But their brief happiness didn't last. Outside, the other children were practicing shooting. The sounds of gunfire brought back terrifying memories for the baby Ochi. He began to wail uncontrollably, his cries echoing through the house. Yuri tried to hush him, fearing someone would hear, but it was too late. Rabato, hearing the unusual sounds, came searching, with a gun in hand. He burst into Yuri's room and froze at the sight. There beside Yuri was the baby Ochi. Instinctively, he raised his gun, but before he could act, Yuri stepped in front of the creature and spoke with urgency. "Please, Roboto. This is just a baby. He's harmless. He's lost and scared. He's just trying to find his mother. I'm going to return him. I know you have enough compassion in you not to hurt him." Roboto's eyes softened. Something in Yuri's voice, in the innocence of the creature, got through to him. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. Seizing the moment, Yuri grabbed her bag, carefully placed the baby Ochi inside, and climbed out through the window. Later, when Master Petro questioned him, Roboto shook his head. "I didn't see her," he lied. But Petro wasn't convinced. He grew worried. He marched to Yuri's room to investigate. There, he found a note. "I'm leaving." Scattered on the floor were traces of blood and strands of strange blue hair. Petro's heart sank. Something was wrong. He rushed outside and alerted the rest of the group. "Yuri has been taken! She's in danger!" Without hesitation, the children grabbed their weapons and piled into a truck, heading into the forest to find her. Meanwhile, Yuri had reached another town. Exhausted and starving, she entered a general store, hoping to grab some food. As she moved through the aisles, the baby Ochi stirred inside her bag. Before she could stop him, he popped his head out, and the chaos began. A group of girls spotted him and screamed in terror. One even pointed a gun. Yuri, desperate to protect him, ducked into the store's walk-in refrigerator. But the baby Ochi, frightened by the noise and confusion, howled louder than ever. Yuri tried to cover his mouth to calm him down, but in his panic, he bit her hand. She let out a loud scream. Now everyone knew where she was. Thinking quickly, she pushed a cart with all her strength, shattering the glass door of the store. In a flurry of motion, she bolted outside. Without a second thought, she jumped in and sped off. The car's owner gave chase, but she vanished down the road. As she drove, Yuri looked at her hand where the Ochi had bitten her. The area was swelling rapidly, blisters forming, and her skin had begun turning blue, just like the Ochi. Panic crept in. Dizziness overwhelmed her. Her grip on the steering wheel weakened. Unable to continue, she veered the car off the road and stumbled out. Coincidentally, Master Petro was nearby. When he saw the damaged car surrounded by police, he stopped to investigate. Among the items found inside was a pair of false teeth. He recognized them immediately. Elsewhere, Yuri had collapsed near a riverbank. Her skin had fully transformed. Her entire body now glowed with the same deep blue as the Ochi. She realized something terrifying. The bite had changed her. Poison? Or something else? She bent near the water, caught several leeches and placed them on her wound, hoping they'd suck out whatever was spreading inside her. But something even more incredible happened. Suddenly, she could hear the baby Ochi speak. Amazed, Yuri sat in stunned silence. "I can speak your language," she whispered. Her wonder turned to joy. She danced near the river, laughing, spinning, until she slipped. The ground gave way beneath her, and she tumbled into a deep pit. The baby Ochi perched high on a tree above, watching helplessly, waiting for her to rise. She didn't. Meanwhile, Petro and his group reached the same part of the forest. He noticed footprints, fresh ones. His instincts told him Yuri was close. Back at the pit, Yuri, weak and injured, was finally rescued. A woman climbed down, lifted Yuri on her back, and carried her to safety. When Yuri awoke, she was startled at first, but then her eyes widened with recognition. "Mom," she whispered. The woman nodded. Yes, it was her mother, the one who had saved her. "Where's the baby Ochi?" Yuri asked frantically. "I need to return him to his mother. Do you know I can understand him now? I can speak his language." Her mother smiled gently and replied, "That's no surprise, Yuri. I taught you that language." Then she picked up a flute and played a haunting tune. It mimicked Ochi's call perfectly. Yuri listened, stunned. "Whatever happens," Yuri said, her voice firm, "I have to reach him. I won't leave him like you left me." Outside, in the pouring rain, Roboto sat near the house, unaware that Yuri was inside. The next morning, Yuri woke to the same flute melody. Following the sound, she discovered her mother's hidden room, filled with books and research on the Ochi. "These creatures you think are innocent," her mother warned, "are not what they seem. They hate humans. If you bring that baby to his kind and they sense your scent on him, they'll abandon him, or worse." But Yuri refused to believe her. She screamed, "The mother who couldn't love her own child is warning me about someone else's. I have to save him." On her way out, she noticed a map detailing possible locations of the Ochi. She took what food she could and set off. Roboto spotted her and informed Petro. By the time they arrived at the house, Yuri had already left. Petro confronted Yuri's mother. She revealed the truth. Yuri was her daughter, and she had gone to find baby Ochi. The tension exploded into a heated argument. It escalated into a scuffle, which the children eventually broke up. Inside the house, Roboto discovered the map Yuri had used. Now they knew exactly where to go. In the forest, Yuri wandered for hours, calling out in Ochi's voice. Exhausted and defeated, she collapsed, tears spilling down her face. Then, miraculously, baby Ochi emerged from the trees and called out to her. Her face lit up. She climbed the tree, grabbed him, and held him close. As night fell, they ate, drank, and huddled together near a campfire. "We'll go to your mother in the morning," she whispered in his language. At dawn, Yuri built a small raft and crossed the river. On the other side, beyond the mountains, was a breathtaking world. Caves dotted the cliffs like secret doors, and baby Ochi called out to them. Other Ochi slowly emerged but shrank back in fear on seeing Yuri. She realized then her mother was right. These creatures would never accept a human-touched cub. At that moment, Petro and his team arrived and began firing. Chaos erupted. Yuri's raft overturned, and she fell into the river. Petro shouted for her to leave Ochi and return, but she refused. She swam toward a dark cave, Ochi clinging to her back. Determined to protect him, she disappeared inside. Petro, seeing her disappear, made a bold decision. He would go in after her. Inside the cave, he ran but slipped and fell, trapped by heavy logs. Yuri spotted him and tried to free him. The logs were too heavy. Then baby Ochi stepped forward. His eyes met Petro's for the first time. Gentle, curious, innocent. Petro's heart softened. Maybe these creatures weren't enemies after all. Together, he and Yuri freed him. Outside, the children followed the raft trail into the cave. Yuri's mother arrived too, flashlight and gun in hand, determined to protect her daughter. Together, Petro and Yuri led them through the cave into a land so serene it felt magical. For a moment, humans and Ochi stood face to face. Peace felt possible. But just as Petro and Yuri began to hope for a peaceful resolution, Petro noticed something that filled him with dread. Behind him, the hunter children he had once trained were slowly readying their weapons. Petro's eyes widened. "Stop!" he cried, rushing to halt them before disaster struck. But he was a moment too late. One of the children, reacting out of panic, fired a shot. The bullet didn't hit any of the creatures, but it struck the side of the mountain with a sharp, echoing crack. The Ochi, startled and terrified, immediately fled, retreating into the dark safety of their caves. The peace that had just begun to form was shattered in an instant. The atmosphere grew tense, and the air was heavy with fear. Sensing the collapse of the fragile bridge between the two worlds, Yuri's mother stepped forward. In the stillness, she raised her old wooden flute and began to play. The notes floated through the air, soft and sorrowful, echoing the same melody that once sounded like Ochi's voice. Then she spoke, not just with words, but with a voice that tried to reach hearts, Ochi hearts. She told them they had misunderstood. These humans hadn't come to harm them. They had come only to return one of their own, one lost child, back to his people. A long silence followed. Then, slowly, from the shadows of the caves, the Ochi began to emerge once again. Yuri stepped forward with baby Ochi in her arms. Gently, she placed him down. The little creature took a few steps and then ran to his mother, who embraced him tightly. It was a reunion filled with warmth and relief, pure and silent understanding between mother and child. Yuri watched, overwhelmed by the moment. Her eyes welled up with tears, not of sorrow, but of quiet joy. She turned to look behind her and saw her own mother standing there, tears in her eyes, too. Their gazes met, and something unspoken passed between them. Years of distance, pain, and misunderstanding seemed to dissolve in that moment. Slowly, they walked toward each other and embraced, their arms trembling but sure. A mother and daughter, healed by what they had both witnessed. As the Ochi and their children reunited, and the two women held each other in silent forgiveness, a sense of peace returned to the valley. It was a moment of parallel reunion, two worlds, two families, finding their way back to each other. And so, with these tender scenes of mothers and children, Ochi and human, smiling through tears and finally together again, the story came to an end, a quiet, hopeful end, where love had finally found its way through fear. Thank you for watching.